Hello. For the first Brikyif reading, I have chosen a segment from Chapter 1 of Saylon Awakening. A little background to set the scene. Aurora's father has just come home, and Aurora volunteered to put his horse away and take care of the other animals in the barn. Shortly following this is the first hint that Aurora may be more than she appears. Aurora led Boz to the old barn that smelled like cow and horse manure. The smell didn't bother her as she put Boz in his stall and gave him fresh hay and water. In a way, the smell was comforting. She went to Luna's stall. The silver-gray mare stood still as Aurora looked at her leg, which had been bruised a few days ago. It was just fine now, but Aurora's father liked to be sure. She gave Luna hay and water, then kissed the horse on the nose and whispered, "You and Boz will be a team again tomorrow." She walked over to Marigold's pen and saw the cow looking at her expectantly. "I didn't forget you," Aurora said to the cow as she began filling a bucket with hay. Once she had enough hay, Aurora walked over to Marigold's pen and threw the hay into the cow's feeder. After giving Marigold hay, Aurora filled the cow's water trough with fresh water, then left the barn. Aurora skipped back to the house, thinking about what life would be like when she had her own house and land to manage. Hopefully she'd do a good job like her mother was doing. She was nervous about leaving the house where she'd been born. At least she didn't have to worry about that until next spring. That was a relief. At the same time, she couldn't wait for spring to come, because her father's apprentice, Jules, would finish his apprenticeship on the last day of Unther. On that day, Jules would be allowed to ask Aurora to marry him. Aurora and Jules had known for years they would marry each other someday. Both her mother and father knew what she and Jules were planning. After having Jules as an apprentice for 1 year, Aurora's father had been encouraging Jules to keep seeing Aurora. Jules was a friend to the family, and now was soon going to be family. Aurora looked at the setting sun as she thought about what it would be like to start her life with Jules. When she got to the door, she could hear her parents whispering. It sounded like they were talking about someone, but she wasn't sure who. "I know you don't agree, but the rumors are seeming more and more likely to be truth with each passing day," said her father. "But this is Thiath. We are the most ignored town in Ceylon," replied her mother. Fadder was supposed to be insignificant too. Too many small towns have been having the same problems. Her father paused. Eliza told us in her letter that no girl appearing to be Aurora's age was left in Fador or any of the surrounding areas. "But Leo, you can't honestly think he would send his men to Thiath just to take the young women." Her mother seemed to be forcing confidence into her voice. "If you ask me, all those tales are false." "Some say the same about Mintow." Her father said the name in a hushed voice, then paused, but her mother did not speak. Her father went on. "But we both know the stories about her are true, the good, the bad, and the horrifying." Aurora heard her father get up and walk. "Not only did Eliza send us a letter, but Katrina did too. If both Fador and Lenico have been visited by his owner's men, then we can't be far behind. No, he will come and take her, and if he does, we'll never see our little Aurora again. Is that what you want?" There was a hint of anger in her mother's reply. "Of course I don't want to lose Aurora. We promised we would never let harm come to her." The anger left, and her mother's voice shook a little. "But if she does run, we can't both go with her. It's the thought of losing her forever that terrifies me, Leo. Getting Aurora when we did was like a miracle. And now we have to—" "It's all right, Gabrielle." Her father's voice was soft. Aurora could imagine her father holding her mother as he spoke. "We'll find a way to protect her. I promise." "Leo." Her mother's voice was so quiet that Aurora had to strain to hear the rest of what was said. "You don't think our little Aurora could be the one, do you?" Aurora's father was silent for a moment. "I think we both know the answer. If the king's men really do come to Thiath, then we'll be sure." Aurora waited for a few minutes before pushing open the door. The conversation she'd overheard confused her, but it had also made her mother sound ready to cry. Aurora decided not to bring it up as she opened the door and announced, "Chores are done." "How's Luna?" asked her father. "She'll be able to pull the wagon with Boz tomorrow," Aurora replied as she washed her hands in the kitchen wash basin, being careful not to show them her hand. Her father smiled. Good. When can I go into town with you again? I'm sure we'll have time soon. A glint came into her father's eyes. Like tomorrow, after chores. Only after Aurora does the laundry, her mother added, pointing toward a basket that was level full of dirty clothing. If she does that, then I'll start tanning the hides for her. Aurora smiled as she sat down at the table with her parents. While they ate, her father told them about his day. He was a blacksmith, so most of what he said was about his latest project. Aurora didn't really pay much attention to what was being said because she was thinking about what she'd overheard. Suddenly, her mother cried, "You most certainly will not." Aurora looked up just as her father asked, "Why not, Gabrielle?" "Aurora is a woman, not a man. She will not need one." "One what?" Aurora asked, looking from her mother to her father. "Your dad wants to make you a short sword and teach you to use it," her mother replied. Aurora was speechless. A sword? For her? She'd absolutely love to learn more about how to use one. "I'd like that," she said, smiling. "No. The only women who use swords are mercenaries, and my daughter will not become one of those," said her mother firmly. Aurora sighed. It was true that most women who had swords were mercenaries, thieves, or bounty hunters, and none of those were acceptable career choices. The only women who weren't mercenaries, thieves, or bounty hunters were the Valkyrie, but Aurora wasn't going to go near them. All the stories about them said they were cruel and would kill for fun. They had dark wings and punished those who did not follow his owner's orders. "I don't think she'll become a mercenary just because she learns how to use a sword," her father said calmly, with a meaningful look at her mother. Her mother sighed and looked down at her plate. Her parents looked at each other as if they were silently talking. Aurora was sure she knew what was going through her mother's mind, but didn't care. "Little one, do you truly want to learn how to use a short sword?" "Yes, Mom, I do," said Aurora, slightly taken aback by her mother's question. Her mother had never asked if she wanted a sword before. "I'm not going to go off and fight some war or save all of Saylon just because I can use a sword. I just want to know how to use one for self-defense. You know I'm moving out when spring comes. Jules and I already know where we're going to build the house." That put a look of realization in her mother's blue eyes. "All right, then. Leo, go ahead and make her one." "Thank you, Mom," said Aurora, before returning to her dinner, trying not to look too excited. "That man's been in love with you ever since he first saw you. You're the only reason he wanted to be my apprentice," said her father, smiling. "Not quite," said Aurora, smiling. "Jules really does like being a blacksmith. He became your apprentice to make sure that you got to know him. Not only do you know him very well now, you more than approve of him marrying me this spring." Her mother smiled. "Well, at least our little Aurora has only ever been serious about one boy, and not five like her sisters." The three of them laughed. Katrina hadn't really been quite so boy crazy, but she'd always told everyone who the cute guys in town were. Eliza had always been a little crazy when it came to boys, and had said at least 5 different times she had found the love of her life. After the first four, she'd been heartbroken. It had taken more than a month each time to get her back to normal. Thankfully, she met Kevin, who was now her husband. I hope you all enjoyed this reading from Mark Brikyif's Saylon Awakening. To hear more, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for listening.